Hi, this is JAYA'S. In this video, we shall see the summary of Tithonus, a poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Tennyson begins the poem by saying that the woods in the forest, that is all the trees in the forest, they grow old and their leaves fall to the ground. In the same way, man is born and he works on the earth and then dies and is buried underground. But the speaker here, Tithonus, is cursed to live forever. He says living forever is a curse because Tithonus tells Aurora, the goddess of the dawn, and his lover, that he grows old slowly in her arms like a white haired shadow roaming in the east. Tithonus laments that while he is now a grey shadow, at one time he was a beautiful man, and that is why Aurora chose him as her lover. He remembers that he long ago asked Aurora to grant him eternal life. He had said to her, "Give me immortality," because she was an immortal being. And so he also thought that if he is immortal, death will not separate him from Aurora. And Aurora also granted his wish generously, and he says that it was like a rich philanthropist giving as money as possible without even thinking. They will be so very involved in the charity and they need not worry about the money. Like that she had given. But at that time, Aurora the goddess had forgotten that Tithonus had not asked for another thing. That is, Tithonus has asked for immortality. That is, he will not have death in his life. But at the same time, she forgot that aging will make him to wither, and years, that age, will take their revenge on him. Now, since she has granted him the wish of immortality, he cannot die. And since he has aged, he will be forever old. And he must dwell in the presence of Aurora in that old stage. But Aurora, being immortal and goddess, she renews herself each morning. And thus she is always young. Therefore, Tithonus appeals to Aurora to take back the gift of immortality while the silver star of Venus rises in the morning. He now realizes the ruin in desiring to be different from the rest of the mankind and living beyond the goal of ordinance, the normal human lifespan. That is, every human being, they have their own lifespan. And when man tries to go beyond it or to be different and not normal, it is actually ruining his own life. Just before the sun rises, Tithonus catches sight of the dark world where he was born as a mortal, as a human being. He witnesses the coming of Aurora, the dawn. Her cheek begins to turn red and eyes grow so bright that they overpower the light of the stars. Aurora's team of horses awakes and converts the twilight into fire. The poet now addresses Aurora, telling her that she always grows beautiful and then leaves before she can answer his request. He questions why she must scare him with her tearful look of silent regret, because she also knows how beautiful he was at one age, that is, when he was young. And now, as a withered old man, how he is actually suffering because of her boon, which is actually turned into a curse. And that is why, whenever she comes to meet him in the dawn, she stays with him in the night, but in the morning when she goes, her eyes are filled with tears. And he says that her look makes him fear that an old saying might be true, that the gods themselves cannot recall their gifts. That is, she has given him the boon, but she does not have the power to recall that boon, which is actually turned into a curse, and that is why he is suffering. And that suffering is making her to cry. Tithonus sighs and remembers his youth long ago, when he would watch the arrival of the dawn and feel his whole body come alive as he lay down and enjoyed the kisses of another, that is Aurora. This lover from his youth used to whisper to him wild and sweet melodies, and those melodies used to sound like the music of Apollo's lyre, which accompanied the construction of Ilion, that is Troy. Tithonus asks Aurora not to keep him imprisoned in the east, where she rises anew each morning, because his eternal old age contrasts so painfully with her eternal renewal, because every day she comes back in the same young youth looks, whereas each day is adding on to his old age. He cringes cold and wrinkled, whereas she rises each morning to warm happy men that have the power to die, and men who are already dead in their burial mounds. Titanus asks Aurora to release him and let him die. This way she can see his grave when she rises, and he who is buried in the earth after his death will be able to forget the emptiness of his present state and return on silver wheels that stings him each morning. The poem goes like this. The woods decay and fall. That is, all the trees in the forest, they face their death and they fall down. The vapors weep their burden to the ground. Man comes and tills the field and lies beneath, and after many a summer dies the swan. So everything in the nature which is created by God, which is all mortal, they live their life and they die. Me only cruel immortality consumes. But I am now, we find that one person is talking to her, and that me says that I am immortal. And this immortality is eating me, it is consuming me. I wither slowly in thy arms here at the quiet limit of the world. And day by day I am just withering. I am just fading away. But I am not able to die because now I am immortal. And this world is now only quiet to me. A white-haired shadow roaming like a dream. Now I am like a white-haired shadow. I am like a dream. The ever-silent spaces of the east, far-folded mist and gleaming halls of morn. Alas, for this grey shadow, once a man. See, now only I am a grey shadow. At one time, I was a man, so glorious in his beauty and thy choice. I was so very beautiful that you, an immortal God, chose me. Who madest him thy chosen, that he seemed to his great heart none other than a God. And I, because I was chosen by you, I thought that I am also a person who can live like God. I asked thee, give me immortality. So I also wanted to be like God, like you, who is immortal. So I asked you, I only asked you, give me immortality. Then didst thou grant mine, asking with a smile, like wealthy men who cares not how they give. But thy strong hearts indignant worked their wills, and bet me down, and marred, and wasted me. And thou, they could not end me, left me maimed. And the moment I asked you, immediately gave me my boon. You smilingly gave, like a rich man giving all his money to others, because he is not worried. He has a capacity to give as much as he wants. And I, not realizing what I have asked, now am bet by the time. Time passes, and I am now wasted. And time cannot do anything to me other than miming me. To dwell in presence of immortal youth, immortal age beside immortal youth. Now I am living with you, who is an immortal youth. You always have youth. I have immortal age, but beside me it is you who is immortal youth. You're every time, every day you're renewing. Your youth is returning to you. And alas, I was, and all I was, in ashes. But now I am in ash. Can thy love, thy beauty make amends, though even now, close over us, the silver star they guide, shines in those tremulous eyes that fill with tears. I know your love for me is the same. Your beauty is the same. But it cannot change what it has done. We are very close. The silver star guides you every day here. But in your eyes, which are now filled with tears, seeing me, you are crying every day. To hear me, let me go, take back thy gift. Will you hear me? Will you take back the gift which you gave me? Why should a man desire in any way to vary from the kindly race of men? I don't know why I wanted to be different from other men. Or pass beyond the goal of ordinance, we all should pause as is most meet for all. See, every human beings have a lifespan. And if I am not going to meet it, then what is going to happen is now happening to me. A soft air fans the cloud apart. There comes a glimpse of that dark world where I was born. Now I can see beyond the clouds. I can see the dark world where I was born. Once more the old mysterious glimmer steals from thy pure brows, and from thy shoulders pure, the bosom beating with a heart renewed. Thy cheek begins to redden through the gloom, thy sweet eyes brighten slowly close to mine. Ere yet they blind the stars and the wild team which love thee. Yearning for thy yoke, arise and shake the darkness from the loosened manes, and beat the twilight in flakes of fire. Your horses come here, and they are able to beat the flakes of fire in the twilight. But everything around me is the same except me. Lo, ever thus thou growest beautiful in silence. Every day, quietly, you are becoming more and more beautiful. Then before thine answer given departest, and thy tears on my cheek. You are very loving to me. You stay with me. You come to me in the dawn, and in the morning you leave. But when you leave, your tears are in my cheeks. I know you've been crying in the night. Why wilt thou ever scare me with thy tears? Why are you scaring me with your tears? And make me tremble lest the sayings learnt in days far off on that dark earth be true. And only now I am remembering the saying which has been said in the dark earth where I was there. I remember that saying is now true. The gods themselves cannot recall their gifts. The gods can give a boon, but after giving, the same God itself does not have the power to take it back. Yea, me, with what answer heart, in days far off, and with what other eyes I used to watch, if I be he that watched the lucid outline forming round thee, saw the dim curls kindle into sunny rings, changed with thy mystic change, and felt my blood glow with a glow that slowly crimsoned all thy presence and thy portals, while I lay, mouth, forehead, eyelids growing dewy warm, with kisses balmer than half opening buds of April, and could hear the lips that kissed, whispering I knew not what of wild and sweet, like that strange song I heard Apollo sing with Ilion. Ilion is the Troy, the land of Troy, like a mist rose into towers. So at one time when I was young, I experienced all this. I've seen your beauty glowing and glowing. Yet hold me not forever in thine east. But now what I'm asking is, please, I don't want to live anymore. So don't hold me here in the east. How can my nature longer mix with thine? Because think, my nature is I'm growing old, because I did not ask for youth. I asked for not facing the death, immortality. And you are immortal. Now how can I be with you? How can I mix with you? Coldly thy rosy shadows bathe me. Cold are all thy lights, and cold my wrinkled feet upon thy glimmering thresholds when the steam floats up from those dim fields about the homes. Now I am facing the colder side of my life, of happy men that have the power to die. I am now looking at the men who should be really happy because they have the power to die, which I don't have. And grassy burrows of the happier dead. I am seeing the people who are buried underground. I am seeing their burrows. They should be happier because they are dead. Release me and restore me to the ground. Now I want you. Please release me. I don't want this gift of immortality. And send me back to the ground. Thou seest all things. Thou would see my grave. Like how now you are seeing everything, you see my grave also. Thou wilt renew thy beauty morn by morn. Every day your beauty gets renewed every morning. I, earth and earth, forget these empty courts, and thee returning on thy silver wheels. And I also will die in the earth, and I'll forget all these empty courts. And you also can return in your silver wheels. Here ends a poem where he actually begs for mortality, that is death, because old age suffering is the worst suffering, and when his lover is still young, he is unable to cope up with the sorrow that she undergoes on seeing him in this age and not having the capacity to die. It's a very beautiful song. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.